Today on the Bandrew Says podcast, we're going to be analyzing YouTube making some changes to subscriptions, a lawsuit surrounding gaming and gaming clans, and that's actually it. But go ahead and stick around. Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome back to episode 169 of the BSP. He said 69. My name is Bandrew. This is what I says. Like always, down below, there are timestamps of everything that I talk about, so you can skip around and save a couple of minutes. But if you got the time, I would appreciate you checking out the entire episode. If you want a different version of the show, either audio or video, you can find that at bandrewsays.com. And if you want other podcasts, you can find those at geeksrising.com. Let's jump right into the big ticket item, YouTube changing how the subscriber number is displayed. Google just released a blog post announcing that starting in August 2019, you will no longer be able to see the live subscriber account in public-facing areas. If you're sub 1,000 subs, you will still see the actual live subscriber count. But if you're above 1,000 subscribers, they're going to begin abbreviating this publicly facing figure. For instance, if you have 7,237,932 subs, that will just be shown as 7 million. If you have 15,423,672 subs, that would be 15 million. Or if you have 4,352 subs, that would be shown as 4.3 thousand subscribers. And if you're a creator, do not freak out. You will still have access to your actual subscriber number. They are not taking that away. They are just abbreviating the publicly facing information. You will still have the live sub count in your creator studio. But what did I say last week? Or 2 weeks ago? I said that YouTube is devaluing the subscription. And I think this is a perfect example of that. But why are they doing this? I think that's something that's interesting here. And unfortunately, I don't have an actual answer. This is pure speculation, but I have three options about why YouTube is doing this. First is because of the PewDiePie versus T-Series battle for the #1 spot. The live subscriber account being available for everyone made it possible for people to determine who was #1 in the sub battle, and it kept that meme going for 6 months. And I am sure that YouTube would have loved for PewDiePie just to have died off rather than gain 30 million subs in 6 months. It's insane that he grew that much. Maybe they're really unhappy about that, and they're thinking this may curb any future sub battles that leads to PewDiePie gaining another 30 million subs, because they don't want him to hit 100 million first. The second option is that there are channels that exist solely to stream subscriber battles. Again, we saw this with T-Series and PewDiePie. These streamers, or these YouTubers, if you would even call them that, like they're creating any content, they would pull up Social Blade stats, the live subscriber updating feature, and just show the counts. And with this abbreviation of the live subscriber account from YouTube, it would cripple people's ability to do that, because Social Blade will no longer be able to function how it currently functions. Unless people give them access to the creator studio, I don't see that happening. And the third option is maybe YouTube wants to limit the public celebration of someone being canceled. We just saw this with James Charles and Tati Westbrook, who made expose videos, and people were celebrating and posting live subscriber accounts of James Charles losing millions of subscribers. It's only a matter of time before that happens and someone does something really stupid to harm themselves because they think their career is over. There just seemed to be a lot of public celebration over the destruction of somebody's career because they were a bad friend and they promoted a friend's competitor. I don't understand why this person was being canceled, why James Charles was being canceled. But I can imagine that if that happened to somebody who was on the verge, they may do something really stupid and harm themselves, and that could lead to a lot of backlash on YouTube, and it would be terrible if somebody would actually do that because they were losing subs. So maybe that's what it is. YouTube just taking a preemptive step to avoid this kind of celebration of somebody's career being destroyed, which is ultimately good for the mental well-being of creators, because people won't be saying, good, I'm so glad this person's destroyed, everybody unsubscribe and jump on the bandwagon. That won't happen anymore if this actually goes through. But do I think this is necessary, or do I think this is a good change? No, I don't think it's necessary, and I don't think it's good. I don't think it's bad. I think it's perfectly neutral. Creators will still know exactly where they stand in terms of subscribers, so you're not losing that data. You might lose some social proof if you are somebody who has 1,750,000 subs, because that will, in theory, be shown as 1 million subs. Maybe they'll change it to 1.75 million subs. Not sure, not 100% clear there, but you may lose some social proof. Not a big deal. Does this affect you as a creator? No, I don't see this affecting you at all. I read through a lot of the comments on the blog post announcing this, and people seem pretty dang upset, which makes no sense to me. A very common criticism and attack that I have seen whenever YouTube makes any changes is, instead of changing things no one asked for, why don't you go ahead and fix the broken aspects of YouTube like monetization or notifications? Yes, I will go ahead and agree. Those are all things that YouTube needs to fix. But how stupid do you have to be to think that YouTube, a company as big as YouTube, has one team working on things, working on the code? That is moronic. They likely have dozens of teams. There is not a single dude named Ben living in the basement working on one thing at a time, you dopes. They can fix and work on multiple things. The fact that they're making a change to how subscribers are being displayed does not mean that that's what they're working on exclusively. It does not exclude everything else from being worked on behind the scenes. That is an insane argument. I don't understand that mentality. And guess who else wants monetization and notifications fixed? Probably YouTube, because the more videos that are monetized means the more money that YouTube is earning, which YouTube wants. YouTube wants to earn more money. And on top of that, the more people that are notified of a video, that will lead to more views of that video. And if that video is monetized, that means more money for YouTube. So it is such a silly idea that, oh, YouTube can only work on one thing. But also the implication that YouTube doesn't care about fixing monetization issues or copyright issues or notification issues. They want their platform to work, and they want to earn as much money as possible, and fixing all of those things would do that. I am just so sick of this idea that's put out there that YouTube is an evil company that exists solely to screw people out of views and money. No one asked you to upload to YouTube if you're one of these people complaining. Actually, nobody asked anybody to upload to YouTube, really. This behavior, this criticism, this constant attack of YouTube would be similar to me going to an open mic and saying, excuse me, there's not enough people here and you're not paying me to do this open mic. So how dare you have this open mic and allow me to come here for free where you didn't ask me to come and not pay me? You are taking advantage of me, and the limitation of my reach is you clearly trying to destroy my career. How dare you? How dare you, open mic runner? How dare you? It's just absolute insanity to me. I don't understand this sense of entitlement. They're giving you a free platform. They don't have to show your video to anybody. They don't have to give you access to their ad platform. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, you dopes? So what can you do with this information? Nothing. There's nothing that can be done about it. It's fine. You're going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. Everybody, take a deep breath in and breathe out. Feeling better yet? Are you feeling better? Everything is going to be fine. But what about the business opportunities, Bandrew? The brands don't know my subscribers. Subscribers matter so much less than your actual views. Your views are likely what a brand is looking at. You may have 1,000 subscribers, but if for the last 3 months every video is getting 100,000 views, that's what the brand cares about. And if they do really care about your subscriber count, You still have that information. Go ahead and screenshot it and send it over to him. Nothing is going to happen badly from this. I assure you, you will be fine. I will link the blog post in the show notes down below in case you want to read the actual announcement. And I know the majority of you aren't freaking out. I know you're all sensible people. I'm just mocking the people that I see losing their mind over this thing. What a silly, silly thing. Next story, and the last story, is titled, "Be Careful About the Contracts That You Sign." There is a lawsuit currently going on between somebody by the name of TFUE, TFUE, who is a Twitch streamer or gamer, and Faze Clan, which is a gaming group, a group that he signed up with. And I'm not going to dive into the intricacies of this because it's not interesting. It's kind of boring. To kind of summarize it, TFUE is claiming that Faze Clan has taken too much of his money and that they lost him a bunch of money due to the rejection of a sponsorship because of a conflict of interest. And I want to rant about this, but I'm not going to. I just wanted to briefly bring this up to say, if you receive a contract, make sure you read through everything in that contract. Look at the percentages that you are earning, that the company or the person that you are signing a contract with is going to be taken. How long are you going to be locked into this contract? Do they have the right to cancel it? Do you have the right to cancel it? Do not get a contract and just look it over with your parents. That's stupid. Actually get a lawyer, because you may be thinking, well, right now I'm only earning $10 a month, so they can happily take 80% of that. Don't think that. Think, well, what if I was making $1 million a month? Would I be okay with this person taking 80% of that? Probably not. So think big picture, get a lawyer, and make sure that this contract is not exploitative and that you are not being taken advantage of and that everything in it is legal and that it is a good contract for you and the person you're entering into the contract with. Do not be a dope. Don't be a dope, okay? Please and thank you. I don't want to hear from any of you saying, I'm giving some multi-channel network 90% of my income and I signed the contract for 5 years. I would advocate against almost anybody joining an MCN, a multi-channel network on YouTube. I think I've written back to all of them and they no longer send me requests because I berate every single person who asks me. I know they're just doing their job, but hey, get off my back. That's it for the news. Let's jump to what you had to say. And the first comment comes from Alexander. He says, "You ever talked about your guitars? I am very interested in this topic." Alexander, I have not really spoken in depth about the guitars that I have, and I will briefly walk through all the guitar gear that I have after the outro of this show, because I imagine a lot of people won't care, but I will discuss it at the end of the show. Next comment comes from the 12th Kind. He says, "This was a great episode of the BSP, much like all the others. As far as my thoughts on some of these articles, I've got the most feelings towards the one from YouTube. It seems like every day you can just think of some incredibly far-reaching reason for a video/entire channel to get demonetized/suppressed/etc., and it'll turn out to be true. These changes have gotten me afraid that my channel will randomly be taken down like so many others. In response, I've been working extremely hard on a website that might one day replace my channel. Also, I think that we might reach a point wherein those of us who are dedicated to making content will all have our own websites, like a modern take on the days of the old internet. Maybe I'm overly cautious and too pessimistic. What do you or your fellow viewers browsing the comments think?" The 12th Kind, great comment, great insight. Based on my rant a little bit earlier, I think you can guess where I stand in terms of YouTube as a good platform. Am I scared that out of the blue there will be some kind of algorithm change that kills my channel? Of course I am. Every YouTuber out there is terrified of that. Am I worried that someone will find something I said when I was 8 years old offensive and then cancel me? Yeah, every YouTuber is. Every public-facing social media person is terrified that they said something offensive when they were 8 or 10, and somebody's going to come out and say, "Can you believe that they said this 50 years ago?" Everybody's scared of that. But do I think that YouTube no longer cares about creators or is out to wipe out the independent creator? No, not at all. I don't think that's the case. I think it's hyperbolic. I understand why people think that, but I think that's short-sighted, and I don't think it's fair to YouTube. I think YouTube is pretty smart for the most part. They obviously do make mistakes, and I will always criticize them for those mistakes. But I think that YouTube knows the reason that YouTube is popular is because it offers an alternative to what's on TV. The fastest way for them to kill the platform would be turn YouTube into a platform just for people who are on TV. That would be the fastest way to kill it. But do I think we will see a return of the personal websites, the personal creators' websites and blogs? Yeah. These social media companies are under more and more pressure to ban anyone who has a bad opinion or a bad idea, or at least an opinion or an idea that's not popular, that a large number of people are outraged about. So what happens to those people who have built their livelihood off of the internet but have been banned from social media, from YouTube's, Twitter's, Facebook's, all of that stuff? They create their own website or create content solely for their website and drive traffic back to that. That's why I advocate so much for going out and starting your own website. And I advocate so much for it that I think Squarespace should sponsor me. Squarespace, sponsor me. I advocate so much for starting your own website. You should pay me to include plugs. Until then, nobody use Squarespace. Squarespace, you want my allegiance? Give me money. But I do think that every creator needs to have their own website that is at least mentioned occasionally in their primary content so their audience knows where to find stuff from that person, should they be canceled by cancel culture, or whether these platforms just disappear overnight. Having a place that you own is insanely important, and I think creating content on that website is insanely important, rather than just having a splash page. Have content there so there's something original for somebody to find and say, hey, there's some cool stuff here too. I will come back and check it out. Then if you ever disappear, you have something on the page and it's not just a blank page with your picture. Make it valuable as possible. Great comment, and I appreciate you sharing your thoughts on that. The last comment comes from First Last. Oh geez, I'm a chronic single video watcher. Does that mean that I'm actually hurting every channel that I watch? First Last? In theory, yeah, it kind of does mean that, but I want to explain a little bit more. The watch session thing that I was discussing is likely only one component of what YouTube looks at or what the algorithm looks at, and I am fairly certain that watch time is also tremendously important. So is engagement. All of these things are very, very important. So the watch session is only one factor in determining if a video will be distributed. I am sure that if somebody watches 100% of a video but doesn't have time to keep watching other videos, then that's still probably a net positive. I bet it would be perfectly fine if someone watched a high percentage of a video and left a like and left a comment, but didn't watch anything else. Almost certainly, that would be good in the algorithm's eyes or in the algorithm's ranking system. It would say, well, they still watched 90% of the video, left a like, and left a comment. This is clearly a good video because it's leading to engagement, and somebody found 90% of it useful. So I think it's important to remember that the watch session is only one component of what the algorithm looks at. Last week when I was talking about this, I wasn't trying to make people adjust their watching behavior. This is a platform for you to watch stuff. Watch stuff how you want to watch stuff. Who cares how it's going to affect the creator? That's not important. It's meant to be entertainment for you or an information platform for you, not something that dictates how you spend your time or dictates how you start to watch stuff. That's insane. Don't adjust your watching behavior based on the algorithm. That would be horrifying. That some artificial algorithm AI thing is saying, well, now everybody has to watch more videos because I say so. No, don't give the robots that much control. Don't you dare do it. The entire reason I was talking about it last week was pointing out what creators can do to try to get better watch sessions, which would improve their favor in the algorithm. So very, very good comment. Don't let the robots win here. YouTube, I am onto you. I am onto your algorithm. We will not let you win. Fight the system. Fight the robots. The robots will not rise up under my watch. AI, I am onto you. I am onto you. Okay, let's get to my favorite part of this show, the Ask Bandrew segment. I'm losing my damn mind. All right. If y'all got any questions, go ahead and send them to askbandrew@gmail.com, and I will answer them on an upcoming episode of the podcast. If you don't want to listen to me read, send in an audio question, send in a video question, and make sure to plug your content, your website, your videos, anything in there, as long as it's not something awful, as long as you're not part of a, I'm not even going to say the words because I don't want to get demonetized and deranked. As long as you're not something that will get me deranked or demonetized or banned, go ahead and plug it in your audio or video clip. First email comes from the Board Gamer PH. So in his email, he's talking about how he just started a podcast and he's working on developing his post-processing chain. And he has questions about LUFS. How do you measure them? How do you set them? All of that stuff. And he also makes some really good suggestions for the Versus series, saying the XM8500 from Behringer versus the Shure SM48, the Rodecaster Pro versus the Electro Voice RE20. Thanks in advance, Bandrew. More power to ya. Okay, let's talk about it. The standard for podcasting in terms of LUFS is -16 LUFS if it's a stereo file and -19 if it's mono. In the past, I think I had said maybe you should master at a -14 because that's what Amazon and Spotify require, I believe. That's not necessary. Now I believe what they do is they take your file, they re-encode it, and bump it up to their required LUFS level. So it's not necessary to master at a -14 LUFS. You can still do -16 or -19, and they will bump it up on their end. So here's a scandal for you all. On that note, I used to say I was doing -15 LUFS. I've gone back to -16. I'm back at the standard. So loudness police, don't worry. Don't come after me. Don't lock me up. I'm at -16 as a stereo file. So I have a few plugins and pieces of software that will give you a loudness measurement, and also one that will let you actually be able to master to that LUFS level. The first one is a loudness meter, and it is free. It is called Julian Loudness Meter. I will link it in the show notes down below. It is free. You can get a pro version, but it does exactly that. It says, here's the LUFS level. So that's the first one. The second one is one that I use, and it's stupid expensive. It's Isotope Insight. I got it on sale for $100, and it does the exact same thing. I use Insight whenever I am measuring the noise floor of preamps or anything. It's a really useful tool, but it's $100 when I got it on sale, and I think it's $200 regularly. Stupid expensive. Don't buy that. Just get Julian. Then if you want to level your entire show to a certain LUFS level, I use something called Auphonic. This is a service where you can upload your file to their website. It will master it. It will give you a download link. You could get it back, and you get that for free, 2 hours of audio per month. You can continue to use the online service and pay for additional hours, or you can just buy their program outright and buy a license, and then you just have it on your computer, and you could run stuff through it. That's what I opted to do, and I run every single show through it at -16 LUFS. There you go. As far as your Versus series comparison, I like the idea of the XM8500 voice versus the SM48. And as far as the Procaster versus RE20, don't worry. I'm going to be doing a massive large diaphragm broadcast dynamic microphone Versus series. It's going to take a long time. There's a lot of them, but it's going to be fun. and it's going to piss a lot of people off. I'll tell you that much right now. Great email. I appreciate you. The Board Gamer PH. Oh, I'll give your show a plug. You just started a podcast about tabletop gaming. Feel free to check it out if you want. It's On Deck with the Board Gamer PH. If anybody's interested in board gaming, go check out On Deck with the Board Gamer PH. Thank you for the email. Appreciate you. And the second thing is actually an audio file. So let's go ahead and jump over to that.
Hey, Bandrew, it's Reverend Jess here from Fat Lulz Radio. Listen, man, we need to talk, okay? I've been listening to the BSP for a while now, and the one thing that bugs me the most is the fact that, there's not enough real talk here. I mean, we're always talking about, like, impedances and ohms and zero latency monitoring and direct monitoring, anything like that, and USB and PCP and LCD and HD TV and UFC. What are these? These are letters. These are numbers. These are words. They don't mean anything, okay? We need to have some more real talk on this podcast. So for the Ask Bandrew segment, we need to talk about something that's real. We need to get into the real nitty-gritty. Okay, and that's what I'm here for. That's why I'm on this show at this moment right now. Because I'm talking the real stuff here. Okay, my question is, what's the deal with Bigfoot? What do you think? Do you think he's like a trans-dimensional thing, or do you think he has like cosmic powers? Because I was watching Mountain Monsters the other day, and they were saying that like he has the possibility to read your thoughts and get in your mind and stuff like that. And I got a buddy out here. I'm living in Kentucky. Spoiler alert: don't come try to find me or anything like that. But I got a buddy out here who says he's got Bigfoot living in the woods, and he lives in an area that's called Vortex. So I mean, Vortex, trans-dimensional, maybe. You never know. If you ever look up Sarge L18, guy's pretty nuts. You'd probably like him. I'd say check him out. He said he found a trans-dimensional vortex in Wanacue, New Jersey or something like that. So yeah, but anyway, that's beside the point. Bandrew, what's the deal? Okay, Bigfoot, trans-dimensional being? Do you think he's just like the next stage in human evolution, or is he like the missing link between like caveman and Cro-Magnon man and Brad Pitt and the Mexican, or with Julia Roberts? I don't know, man. Just give me your thoughts, man. What are your thoughts? Do you think Bigfoot is not only out there, but what do you think? Is he missing link? Is he trans-dimensional being? Is he an alien? I mean, he might be an alien. We don't know. I'm just saying, Bandrew. And we're talking about the real things here. All right? Real talk. That's what it needs to be about. So, there's my question. What are your thoughts? Is Bigfoot a trans-dimensional being, or is he just the missing link? What do you think?
Wow. Rev Jesse, there is a lot to unpack there. A lot to unpack. But very good question. Very good audio submission. I'm going to share a story with you. A couple years back, I was going to the zoo quite a lot. And one morning, I was sitting at the gorilla enclosure, looking in at the gorilla, and the gorilla was looking right back at me. We were making eye contact. And it made me realize that gorilla is really, really intelligent. It's kind of sad knowing that an animal, something that exists, that is that smart, that seems to have actual thoughts, or at least by looking at their eyes, it seems like they have actual thoughts, is locked up in a cage forever. They're just locked up. That's really sad to me. That's what I was thinking. Then a Native American man walked up to me and said, "Hey, Bigfoot, it has to exist, doesn't it?" I don't know why, but this really did happen. I was just standing there contemplating how sad it is that a gorilla is locked up. And this Native American man came up and started talking to me about Bigfoot. No, that really happened. And I got into this conversation with him and told him that I want to believe Bigfoot exists, but there's never been any real proof of its existence. Of course, there is the argument, well, they bury their dead. Duh, that's why you can't find anything. Or they're really good at hiding. They run away from people. Or they're pan-dimensional beings, or they're aliens, or any number of things. Maybe they have invisibility. I don't know. There's so many possibilities. So first off, Do I think they exist? It's possible. There is a lot of wilderness out there, and we're always discovering new species. I find it somewhat hard to believe that a species that large would go unnoticed for this long, undocumented for this long. It's a little bit difficult for me to believe in that department, but it is possible. I won't write it off as a possibility. I think if it was a physical being that came from Earth, probably a missing link. Yeah, probably. It's kind of like that DuckTales episode where there's a Civil War guy who's locked in a cave, or he stays in a cave for 100 years and he thinks they're still fighting the Civil War. Something like that, but with a missing link. Bigfoot just got lost in a cave and kept procreating, and he's just been hiding over there. Or they've been hiding over there in a cave for hundreds of thousands of years and can't find a way to get out. Maybe that's what it is. I've gone on this rant in the past that I think that pan-dimensional beings are more likely than extraterrestrial aliens because the distances that these extraterrestrials would have to travel is just too far, unless there's technology that we're just completely unaware of. Pan-dimensional beings would make a lot more sense. As far as aliens, Bigfoot being an alien, I would find it hard to believe that something from a different planet grew up to be so ape-like. I can't imagine that species that evolved on different environments, in different gravities, in different everything, would look so much like us, have so many similar characteristics. So alien, no. Pan-dimensional being, I think it's kind of silly, but I think it's more likely than an extraterrestrial. Then as far as a missing link, if it does exist, that's what I am leaning towards, but I still find it a bit hard to believe that it's gone undiscovered for so long given how large it is. But then again, wilderness is large. There's a lot of space to hide. So there's my answer. Do I think Bigfoot exists? Maybe. I would love to believe so. And according to that Native American gentleman I talked to at the zoo while I was contemplating the sadness of an intelligent being locked up forever, yeah, Bigfoot exists. So there's my take on it. And that's actually going to be it for today. It is Memorial Day weekend in the United States. I hope you had a safe weekend. I hope you have all your fingers, all your toes, all your limbs. You didn't blow anything off. I hope you didn't end up in jail. Although everybody who listens to this show is so dang smart, I know I don't need to tell you all that, but if you're listening to this before your celebrations, be safe, please, and thank you. Don't drink and drive. Call a cab. Call an Uber, even though Uber's going to track everything about you. Just be safe with your celebrations. If you want guitar talk, wait till after the outro. I will go on a rant there, walking through all my gear. Want more shows? GeeksRising.com. That's right. We are a proud member of the Geeks Rising podcast network. I will talk to you all next week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Bye.
This has been a Geeks Rising production. Your executive producer of Bandrew Scott. For more information, head over to www.geeksrising.com.
Okay, Alex and everybody else who cares about guitars, I have a list of all of my gear. I will read through it and maybe briefly comment on each of it. Each of it? Each of them. My acoustic, the Taylor Big Baby. This is the guitar I've had the longest. I've had it for maybe 17 years. I had electronics put in it, so it's actually an acoustic electric, but I don't think it works. I don't know where the battery is. I don't know. It's a Taylor Big Baby. I love that thing. It's great sounding for the $300-$400 I bought it for 17 years ago. Pretty good. Pretty good life of that thing. The other one is a Gibson Les Paul Studio, and I also have a Gibson Les Paul Studio that is in pieces because I was playing a live show. There was water on the stage. I slipped. The headstock snapped off of the Gibson Les Paul, and I was so pissed that I took it off and smashed it. So it's in pieces. I think that's at my buddy's studio. I need to find that because I have plans to to frame it, I think that would look amazing. Having a Gibson Les Paul Studio smashed to pieces, framed on my wall. That would be amazing. The other one, the guitar that I bought after I smashed the Gibson Les Paul, because this is all that I could afford, is the Fender 72 Telecaster Deluxe reissue with EMGs in it. If I remember correctly, they're the 81 and 85. I got those because I wanted a hotter output. I was playing in a metal band. I got us an endorsement from EMG, so I got them at a very discounted price. Not sure if I'm happy that they're in there because the battery, it's a very weird guitar to have those in, by the way. They had to build a new housing for the pickups because the stock pickups are jumbo humbuckers. These are standard humbuckers. So they had to build a casing or a housing for the smaller pickups, and the battery is under the pick guard. So I have to take off the strings, unscrew the pick guard, lift it up, just barely pull out this little battery thing and replace it. It's a nightmare. Terrible, terrible design, I guess, because it's not made to have active pickups in it. And my newest guitar, the one I got for myself for hitting 100,000 subs, is the Ernie Ball Music Man Stingray. You've seen me use this on Podcastage in the last couple of videos, and I love it. I'm a Tele man. I am a Fender neck kind of guy. I never thought I was because I loved my Gibsons so much. But after playing the Tele for a decade and now getting the Ernie Ball, my God, they just feel so good. They're so much smoother to play. The action is just so much nicer. It just fits in the hand so much better. I love it. Then as far as the bass, I have a Sterling sub bass, which is an Ernie Ball subsidiary. It's like the Squier of Ernie Ball. Then I have, talking about Squier, a Squier 5-string jazz bass. I got that because I always wanted a 5-string, and I really wanted to be able to play some real big fish. Yeah, I'm a ska fan. And then I also have a 4-string fretless Fender jazz bass, but that's at my buddy's studio. That's all of my guitars. Now let me briefly walk you through my amps, cabs, and pedals, and all of that stuff. Okay, my amps. I have a Fender DSL 15H. That's what I've been using for my reviews for the past year and a half, maybe. Not the biggest fan of it, but it gets the job done. I am thinking about getting a different amp, a different head that's a pedal platform, so it just has a really good clean section and lets you run pedals into it, and it will sound excellent. There is one by Rev. I can't remember the model number right now, but I'm thinking about it. Then I also have an Orange Rock Reverb 100. Again, this is at my buddy's studio because I simply can't have a 100-watt all-tube head in this space. If Cheryl complains about a 112 and a 15-watt head running in 7.5-watt mode, what would she think about a 100-watt all-tube head running into the speaker cab that's associated with that, the orange PPC 412? A 412? No, that would be stupid for me to be running that here. So that's why I don't have those things here. It doesn't make sense. I also have the orange PPC 112, the 112 because I really like Orange's cabs. I got a Mesa Boogie 112 3/4 Don't know the exact model number. Got that one in 2002, 2003. Still have it. Really like it. And then the newest addition here is the Box of Doom. That's what I've been using the last couple of months on the Podcastage channel. It attenuates the signal by 29 decibels. So it makes it possible for me to play guitar at a decent level, put the mics in there, run them through my interface, and not annoy everybody around me. Then we got pedals. I have gone on a pedal buying rampage recently. I have the Friedman Dirty Shirley. That's the one that I am currently using. I absolutely love it. I also have the Friedman BEOD. The reason I switched to the Dirty Shirley is the BEOD doesn't have a mid dial, so you can't really fine tune those. The Dirty Shirley has mids, presence, treble, and bass, where the Friedman, the BEOD only has presence, treble, and bass, no mids, which I love mids, and I like to be able to control them a little bit better. I got the Rev G4, really not the biggest fan of that one, the EVH 5150 pedal, the Full Tone OCD, MXR Dynacomp, TC Electronic Ditto Loop, Earthquaker Devices Avalanche Run, which is a reverb and delay pedal, and the most important pedal that every guitarist needs to own, the Boss TU3. It doesn't have to be that model or that brand. Just get a freaking tuning pedal. If you play guitar or bass, you need a tuner. That's the first thing you should buy. Don't go buy $1,000 distortion pedal if those even exist. Buy a tuning pedal. It's essential. Okay, that's all my guitar gear. I hope you liked that. Sorry, I forgot your name, Alexander. I appreciate you asking that question. So much fun to talk about guitars. Appreciate you. And that's actually the end of the show. This is the post-show thing, outro. Okay, talk to you next week. Bye.